NewsInMotion.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Do y'all know I still love that music? I mean, seriously. So I'm going to just give Bishop, Pastor, Maestro, Timothy Carpenter another shout out this morning because that's our music for News in Motion. And he did that. And I absolutely love it. So I just wanted to give him a shout out. I see, what? Dr. Annette Jackson's in here early. What? I see Jeff Payne in here. Good morning. Good morning, Regina Shorts and Marion Jackson. You all get the award for coming in here early. Marion Jackson, we saw you roll up in here and soon thereafter Regina Shorts rolled in here real quick. And we just want to say thank you for hanging out with us. I also see, I was seeing some other people come here. Dr. Antoinette, I see her coming in here as well this morning. We have a lot of news, but this is also Wednesday workshop. I want to hear from you all in the chat. Did you enjoy that interview on yesterday? Because I know I did. And that's not to make you sway you one way or the other. But did you enjoy that interview? And I really could have interviewed Cassandra a little while longer. Thank you, Dr. Antoinette. She says, sharing is caring. I see you, Felicia, coming up in here. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So did y'all enjoy that interview yesterday? That's with Cassandra Cummings. She is the founder of Stocks and Stilettos. She started really going deep. I was like, oh, well, we're going to have her come back. Dr. Annette said, heck yeah, great information. Y'all buy her book. We put it in the chat. We put the link in the chat yesterday, but buy her book. I just enjoyed speaking with her and reading her book and learning so much. And if we can just have that sort of mindset. I don't see Kim Edmondson on here yet, but I'll talk about her as soon as I see her if she comes in here this morning. And so the reason I raised that question before I jump into the news today, and by the way, hello, everybody on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, the audio and the podcast platforms. Good morning to all of you. We do realize, and we're starting to look at if we want to use a different platform, we realize that depending upon what platform you're on, all of you don't see the same chat that we see, and all of you do not see the same numbers of people coming in that we do. So we're starting to say, okay, do we want to change the platform? This one's easy and we're comfortable using it, but we're also wondering, do we want to, where you can still go to the area that you're on, but that way we can all connect and have a great conversation. Regina Short said, yes, definitely awesome information. Even signed up on her platform. Yay! I love it. And Marion says, I agree. Great interview and great information. Yeah, I could have kept going. I really could have kept going. I see you, Adrian. Good morning to you. I see you, Judy Neal. Good morning to you. I love it that y'all are rolling in here and that y'all did enjoy the information yesterday. If you missed yesterday's, I would encourage you to watch the replay. We talked about investments. We talked about spending plans. We talked about option trading. We talked about dividends and compound interest. And I know some of you may say, I don't want to hear about that. Yes, you do, because we also talked about Chairman Powell and when he comes out and talks about the interest rates. And even he made a statement this morning, y'all, Chairman Powell, I don't know if y'all saw it. He said he's trying really hard not to allow politics into the movement of the economy in the United States in 2024. So y'all, there is a connection. Even the fact that he came out this morning to say that in an announcement says, oh yeah, there is. You playing, not that you want to, but the politics are playing into this economy and the interest rates and Wall Street. So y'all, that was the interview yesterday. I just see Kim Edmondson pop in here. Y'all, I'm going to talk about my friend for a moment. She's a friend. We get into the news because we also have Wednesday workshop today. But if I've ever become radical, and I think I'm radical now, but if I ever get way out there radical, everybody blame Kim Edmondson. Okay, just blame her. So she sent me something yesterday and she put a name on there and I'm looking at it and I'm watching it, like really like zoning. I'm like, what? I don't think this is what she, and I went on about my day thinking, all right, maybe I missed something. I'll watch it again later on. Then she sent me an update, says, ignore the last link. Well, I just watched the last link, like seriously. So then I watched the new one later on last night. I'm so pumped. Y'all listen, I want y'all to hear this about News in Motion. And this is, call it a press release, an announcement, breaking news, whatever you want to do. And I feel good about it. And y'all should feel great about it as well, because you tune in. Y'all, we are so on the pulse of what we believe our community needs, especially when you see something else that feeds into what you did earlier that day. It gives me like, yes. And then I was in a conversation yesterday afternoon with someone asking me if I watched a special on MSNBC on Sunday. I can't think of the name of it, but if any of you watched it, put it in the chat so maybe people can find it on YouTube. And they were saying to me, news people really need to talk about how the messaging needs to change and needs to be coherent. And y'all need to really talk about everything that President Biden is doing. I busted out laughing. I said, we do that every week on News in Motion and have been doing it since we've been on the air. And they were like, no, you don't. Yes, we do. And that person is not in the time zone, so they're not up. And they said, well, I'm going to need to start watching the replay. I said, yeah, you might need to watch the replays. But y'all, I was so excited because we've been doing it. We've been doing it. And today I just want to shout it from the rooftop. We've been doing it. We've been doing the educational piece, which, by the way, Kim Evans said, I tried to warn you. I am so pumped. And I wish, and I'll leave it alone, but if there was ever a way that we can get that person, and if you have any connections, please do so. I see you, Donita. Good morning to you. So I want to then go into this, and I promise you I'm going into the news and then to the Wednesday workshop. We received a inbox message yesterday. And the inbox message, and I was sharing it with Isaiah this morning. Isaiah got mad, y'all. Isaiah got mad. I was sharing it this morning, and I said, the person inboxed me saying, and I'm reading it, but this is how I received it. I liked it better when you were more funny on News in Motion. I don't like it that you're all serious and all educational now. Are you serious? We've always been serious and we've always been educational. I just have put jokes behind things or bring laughter into it. So the person said that they can find this type of seriousness by watching PBS. Then go watch PBS. We don't care. Seriously, we don't care. And I can still promise you, they're not bringing you as much as I'm bringing you. But do what you need to do and make it done that way. Okay? So it goes back to the conversation we were having yesterday with Cassandra Cummings, that we're more into wanting to hear about Megan Thee Stallion and Nikki Minaj and how somebody else snubbed somebody. We're not doing that here. We're just not doing that here. So this is not the place. This is not a Lifetime television show or broadcast. And we even tried to insert some of that in last year, and it was not working for me or us at all. So we made the pivot back, and we're okay with it. We know, and I'm going to get me a t-shirt that says, I'm not for everyone. Seriously. So I'm going to get one t-shirt that says, I'm heavy on protecting my peace. And I'm going to get another t-shirt that says, I'm not for everyone. And that's okay. And I think even yesterday in the inspirational message, I somewhat brought that out when we were talking about King Charles. Don't wait. Just go for it. People may like it or they may not like it. Even yesterday in speaking with Cassandra Cummings, and she was sharing the reel and the link to the show everywhere. She was like, I love your format. I love what you're doing. And she was pushing it out there, and people were right, like, what? Why haven't we found you? Well, I think that's algorithm as to the way why people can't find us. But she and I were talking, and she even said to me yesterday, she said, I loved the fact of the chat and the comments and the questions. She said, if there was just 3 of us on here, I would have still been just as pumped because somebody wanted concrete information. And I think that makes all the difference. Dr. Annette says, bye, Felicia. Kim Edmondson says, say what? And then Kim Edmondson said, foolishness. We don't have time for it. All right, y'all, today is Wednesday, February the 7th. I need to get that out the way. So let's jump in here. Reminder, there's no town hall tomorrow. There's no town hall Thursday. We're not going to be on the air Thursday. Just everybody be okay. Everybody be okay. And I'll just go ahead and tell you what I'm going to tell you. You know, I was sick in December, so I couldn't go anywhere. Well, I'm now going somewhere because I was like, I got to get out of here. I didn't get my vacation. So now I'm going somewhere. So I'm actually running out of here, running to the airport as soon as we're done. So there's no town hall Thursday tomorrow. We'll be back on Tuesday. And we'll have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week. So y'all just pray that my plane is on time. I get the connections. I get there on time. And I just have a blast. And I just soak in some vitamin D. All right. Good morning. Presidential. I don't know what just happened. Donald J. Trump does not have presidential immunity and can be put on trial in 2020 election subversion case in D.C. We're having some technical difficulties, so everybody just hang in there. I think we're losing connection. Can y'all see me? Are we good? Okay. That's just crazy. I see it happening. So of course it was going to happen. Yeah, it's going to happen. So I think we're good. The unanimous ruling from the 3-judge panel of the U.S. Court of Appeals for D.C. Circuit rejects Donald Trump's sweeping claim of presidential power. Y'all, Trump had previously indicated he plans to ask the full court and the U.S. Supreme Court to review the ruling. So, and y'all, if we have technical difficulties, my apologies, but we'll keep going. Adrian says, you don't have to be everyone's cup of tea. That's what I'm saying. Maybe that's a t-shirt. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. So y'all, that's out there. I see you, Stephanie Burbridge. Good morning to you. So y'all, that's a win, right? That's a win. Okay. I don't know what these shenanigans were yesterday, and I was watching it play out, and I was like, all right, Speaker Johnson, you went down the wrong road trying to impeach a cabinet member in the first time in over 150 years. Like, what was that about? You wasted taxpayers' money, taxpayers' dollars doing all that. So the House Republicans did not have enough votes to impeach the Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas. The Washington Post reports that, the bill, let me back up. I'm going to get to Washington Post. I want to talk to you from Gail Dudley. All right, Speaker Johnson. The Senate came up with a soundproof immigration bill, bipartisan, even after y'all's front runner said, I want to run on that, and we're not going to don't have a deal. So they sent you a bill, and you, Speaker Johnson, said, oh, it's dead on arrival. Even the border security people read it and said, this is perfect. They used the word perfect. You rejected it. And so you've been trying to build, or your House Republicans have been trying to build a case against the Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas. But you didn't have any findings. So why? And you took my money. You took the people's money to do this. Why? Help us understand why. So you had some of your Republican people, the ones who didn't want any of y'all in there, go and vote with the Democrats. And the Democrats needed 3 to make sure that didn't happen. They got all 3. Okay? So back to Washington Post. They said that this would have been the impeachment of the first cabinet member in nearly 150 years. The failed vote was a rebuke of a months-long investigation into Mayorkas that legal experts and even some Republicans had raised concerns. And now they're looking at this and they're saying, we don't want you in office. We don't want half of y'all in office because you're wasting time. Just secure the border. Go back to what the Senate has said, because the Senate sent y'all a bill, but you all decided you're going to deal with your front runner and you're not going to put that on the floor because he's running on that. That makes a lot of sense. But he didn't do anything about it when he was in office. Let's not forget that. Okay, let's not forget that. So they suffered a day of failures yesterday. Y'all, was one after another. The RNC chair has decided to step down. Why? Because that guy, the former occupant, went after her, and her name is Ronna mcDaniel, went after her because she did not go ahead and declare him the nominee and force Nikki Haley out. So the harassment, the criticism, how they're going after her and her, y'all, there's something about this that just should not be okay. It should not be okay. You should not, as a person running for office, incite your people to incite attacks or harassments on another person. Seriously. And you still talking on Truth Social. You do know those things are recorded, right? Just want you to know. People are there every time you post, and they take a screenshot and they put it out there. So it's not going away. And it's already part of Library of Congress. You haven't gotten that yet? So that's what they did. So she will be leaving the job because he's criticizing her. And that came out of HuffPost, and now other people are picking it up. All right, keep going. This is crazy. This is crazy. Yes, Donita, this is not okay. So then the Washington Post is reporting that the special counsel will soon release a report critical. Now, I'll get on fair and balance here. Okay, Biden, you still haven't answered as to why you had classified documents. So they're going to be releasing a report about his mishandling of classified documents, but there's no criminal charges that are expected. Now, the special counsel report is expected to be really detailed and critical on how President Biden, then it was Vice President Biden, and aides handled sensitive papers kept in his home and office after his term of vice president. Though prosecutors are saying they're not expected to charge anyone with violating the law, according to the people familiar with the matter. So, okay. But we also got to talk about Vice President, what's his name, who was with the former guy. He had classified documents too. They all did. Only one had them like stacked up on the stage and in the bathroom and carting them out and reading them and sharing them. Yeah, that. All right, so then let's go back to the RNC and Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley, last night didn't go too well for her in Nevada. There was on the ballot a section that says none of these. And Nikki Haley was listed in the none of these category. And that option won over Nikki Haley. Like, none of these. Like, we're not voting for you either. Yeah, this is crazy. So, the none of these. So, yeah. So, we're waiting to see what the outcome is and how many votes the former guy received. And then we're also looking at what's going to happen for the Republicans, the end of February for South Carolina. Remember, Democrats, you voted on February the 3rd. Now we got to wait to the end of the month for the Republican. That is the craziest thing, for the Republicans to vote. I don't know why they weren't the same day. But anyway, so you are caught up, all right? Before we go to Wednesday workshop, yesterday, the jury found the Michigan mother, Jennifer Crumbley, age 45, guilty of 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter in connection with her son's 2021 mass shooting of Oxford High School that killed 4 students and injured 7 other people. Now, she faces a maximum penalty of 15 years in prison for each count. What's that, 45? 60. Her sentencing is scheduled for April the 9th. I told you I'm not a math person, but I can trade some options. All right, so she bought her son, her and her husband bought their son, a 9mm semi-automatic handgun for Christmas, 4 days before the shooting. So yeah, I want to see her in the chat. What do y'all think about that? Because I was watching that out. I was watching that play out, and I said, I think this is going to change the narrative going forward. And then we also have the NRA that's all over the place. Have y'all noticed y'all haven't heard much about them? Y'all, all kinds of stuff is popping off. The chairman is going to court. Some other shenanigans are coming out. I'm just like, what is happening here? So y'all, this election year is very interesting. So keep paying attention. Mary, I see you, Hester. Good morning. Mary Jackson says the difference is Biden didn't take the documents intentionally, and the former guy intentionally took classified documents. And then Donita says the father goes on trial in a couple of months. Yeah. So it's really interesting to watch all of this unfold. All right, y'all, I'm real serious. Y'all know this by now. I'm real serious on teaching us how. Okay, you'll get the Friday rundown. Friday rundown this Friday is going to be somewhat fun, but it's powered packed with information to equip and empower you. And there's also something free in there. The value of the free thing that's in there is $34.97, but all the subscribers, you getting it free. You getting it free. And many of you have been asking about it. So you getting it free. Oh, by the way, talking about free. Yeah, shout out to Dr. Antoinette for winning. She will be getting the signature vote t-shirt. I just need your size. Let me know next week and I'll get it to you. Yeah, she won. She answered the question yesterday. And then on the podcast audio side, Marvin Mickles, I want to say Mickelson. Marvin Mickles wins the t-shirt from the audio podcast side. So congratulations to the two of you. Every now and then we'll do something like that. So always be paying attention. So pay attention to today's workshop. But I want to talk about the bills, how to read a bill. And I think for so many of us, we miss it. All right. So before I get there, I want to talk about the Library of Congress. Now, from the Library of Congress, Zambia has an amendment to Marriage Act enactment, child marriage outlawed. So it is now outlawed in Zambia. And y'all should really be excited about that. A lot that has to trickle down with human rights and how we're treating human rights here in the United Nations and the World Health Organization and so many others, y'all. Just because it's in another country does not mean we're separated from it. It may not be our law, but let's take the World Health Organization. Let's go back to the pandemic. When they put something out there, you saw how it trickled out to all the other countries. So there's like the United Nations, the Assembly. If they put something out there, it usually trickles out to other people. They look at what's happening. And then you have people like, for example, with women's rights and human rights in the United States. They're looking at our legislation. They're looking at what's happening. They're looking at how we enact it. They're listening to how we're communicating and vice versa. So pay attention. What's up, MK? What's up? Okay, so I want to talk about congressional bills, and you'll hear me use different terms and languages. So here's one I want y'all to key in on: GPO. GPO. I'm curious. Does anybody know what that means? If not, I'll give y'all a few seconds to put it in there. If you don't Google it. And if you don't know, I'll tell you what it is in a moment. But GPO, because that's going to be important with what I'm sharing with you today. So GPO, I'll give y'all a few moments to decide if y'all going to answer that question. GPO. All right. GPO. Do y'all know what that is? GPO. Anybody, everybody. What's happening? Yes, protect the baby girls. I agree with you, Dr. Antoinette. I agree with you. Okay, no one's putting in there what GPO stands for. GPO, Kim Edmondson says no clue. GPO stands for the Government Printing Office. So these bills, you don't go to Kinko's with these bills. You don't even go to the copier in your office for these bills. They all have to go through the Government Printing Office. You don't see them out there until they have already been on the floor. They've already been discussed. There's some kind of vote that's taken place, and then you're able to find them. And then even after that, I see you, Pastor Alex, even after that, it goes out. Like if y'all notice, and I'm not saying this in a boastful way, so just hear me. If you notice, people, journalists with press passes will get them. That's how I'm able to get the link and put it out there. Sometimes, and again, some people just do it to try to be the first one out there. I don't do that. I save them to bring them here. Every now and then I will post them on my Facebook page. But after a while, I don't immediately post them because I want to read them first to make sure I have the right copy, because there's different copies that are out there floating around. So I always want to read through them to make sure I have the right copies. So This is how we're going to read a bill, people. All right, things to look for. Well, you want to look for the bill number. And that's when I was sharing with you all when I'm reading a bill. I'm sharing with you the bill number. And the bill numbers go in order for each identified category, okay? So on the cover of each bill will appear a bill number. I'm not going to read this to y'all. And I'm trying to decide if I'm going to put it in a Friday rundown, if I'm gonna wait. I think I'm gonna wait a little bit because I'm gonna pull some stuff together. Maybe we'll do a whole class on it. Now, it signifies the chamber in which the proposal was originated. So let's say it's the Homeland Security or the Judicial Committee, whatever. That's the chamber. That's the chamber that the proposal was originated. And then AB is an assembly bill. SB, y'all know, Senate bill. HB, House bill, and the sequence number as it is introduced. So for example, assembly bill, and I made these numbers up, 0001 is a 01st assembly bill introduced in the assembly during the current 2-year legislative session. So whatever the current legislative session is, that's the bill. Why am I even talking about this on News in Motion? We need to start paying attention to these bills before we go to the polls and vote. Now, primaries are the primaries. I think y'all already know where you're landing on the primaries. But the general election in November 2024, I'm going to be shooting y'all all kinds of bills because it will connect to those 435 people running for office and those 100 people running for office. You want to know the bills that are on the floor and how people are voting. So I think it's important for you to know how to read them, okay? Class is in session, y'all. So then you have the introduction date and author, okay? Now, on the cover, you will see the introduction date. You will see the author. Y'all know I read this one. I think it was 2 weeks ago, maybe, or maybe it was last week. Yeah, I think it was last week with Latrice Jones on the show. So you see the bill number. You see the representatives. You see the co-sponsors. You see the bill. And then you see numbers. I will cover the numbers on the right side of the page next week. So just hold on to that because those numbers mean something. Those numbers mean something. So then you have the bill and then you have the content. So this is the chamber where the bill originated from, the first author, the primary author of the legislation, the person who's responsible for maneuvering it, the person who puts the bill out there, who starts this. They have to maneuver it through the chamber. So insert the whips, y'all. Y'all remember what the whip does, right? Y'all feel like we like in high school or something, but it's all good. It's a good refresher because I never realized until working on News in Motion that there are many people, I'm talking 40 and over, who have no clue of what I'm about to tell you. I'm like, well, were you asleep in class or what? I'm just kind of confused. And maybe I paid attention because I was excited about this. Now, math, I didn't do too well. But this, I'm all over it. Stephanie says the fee for this workshop you're providing starts out at $775. Thank you for all you do. Well, I will receive that. You know, side note, I have had people write me. I think I might have told you all this before. They're like, your Wednesday workshops, what are you doing? Do you know we charge for those things? And you're giving way more information than we give in a regular workshop. Well, I'm here to empower you all. Here's a prayer of mine. I'll let y'all in on the inside secret. My prayer is like, God, give me the wisdom and the knowledge to present to the community the truth and the facts so that they will be equipped and empowered. Y'all, I pray that almost every morning before I come on News in Motion, because that is my goal, to equip and empower you with the information so that you can make educated decisions in everything that you do. Everything you do. So thank you, Stephanie. It does something for my heart that you all believe in me the way that you do. Stephanie says, I know the whip. He has, and you do well. Thank you. Empowerment to understand. Yes, yes, yes. So the whip comes in So whether it's a GOP person sponsor or Dem person sponsor, their whip in their party goes in and starts whipping votes. Votes are starting to be whipped in the very beginning because they need to see, do we have any co-sponsors on this bill? Do we have anybody backing this bill, or is this bill going to just sit idle until the next legislative session or the next Congress? And they're whipping up these votes. Can you support this? What do you think about this? Can you have your aides read over this? Can you make any changes to this? What kind of definitions do you have? We want to whip up the vote. So that's what's happening here, y'all. This is just the introduction date and the author. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Now, then we have the statutory reference. So y'all, each bill will have a reference to the chapter, paragraph, section, and like here, I pulled out of California statutes because California statutes, their statutory references are very detailed. So you can't see here, and again, I'm going to send this out one day once we package it all together. You can't see it here, but this is the enactment. This is that piece and that's right after the let's say HB House Bill 348, sponsored by so-and-so, co-sponsors, all these sponsors. And then it is the enactment piece. This is being enacted upon such and such and such and such. Here's the date. It will tell you how many sections in there, how many revisions, so that really they're called addendums, that are in there. All of that information will begin to pour out. Boom, 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 boom. It's all there. Okay, so y'all, you're probably saying, well, why does that matter? Why does that matter? Well, when you are going to vote, you're going to vote based upon, if you don't like that bill that you're reading, you're like, well, who all co-sponsored this? Is my representative in here? Why are they co-sponsored? Then you go to the town hall meeting with the paper. Hello, somebody, and go to you just co-sponsored this bill, or you just sponsored this bill, and in reading this, I see XYZ. Why? You're asking questions, y'all. You're asking questions. So you have the statutory piece. Then you have the Legislative Council's digest. So underneath the statutory reference is a legal synopsis. So this is all the legalese, all that information that's in there. The forementioned, therefore, after. All of those words mean something. So go back to elementary school, junior high school, middle school, and remember the definition for those. This synopsis is not always complete. And when they call it digest. So you're digesting the information. And when true lawmakers are digesting this information, they are literally picking it apart. They're looking for any loopholes. So even when you're reading it, you should be able, we've done this here on NewsInMotion, where I was like, well, this kind of like opens up for this, and this kind of cancels out for this. Those bills in Florida, y'all remember that probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I kept on saying there was 3 bills. I said, well, this bill supersedes this bill, and this bill supersedes this bill. So they had it all tightened up so that if anything fell apart, they still had a bill on the floor. And that was that whole thing about, and I think it's still out there, about you can't say racist, can't call somebody mean, can't call somebody stupid, dumb, all those things. Yeah, that bill, that one there. So you want to think about it. And so you're digesting it and saying, what's happening? So when you're reading it, you're also digesting it. Like, what does this mean? I've said this on NewsInMotion. I'm like, well, what neighborhoods are they talking about? Well, who are they targeting? Talked about things that came out of the White House. Well, what does this look like? What about the black and brown people? What about the disabled people? What about the elderly people? When you're digesting it, those are the questions that you're asking, okay? And then you have vote information. And then below the digest are the vote parameters. And so the measure must pass listed first by a majority of 2/3 floor vote. And then again, it depends upon what's putting it out there. Kim Edmondson says critical thinking. Yes, yes, yes. And then you have the fiscal committee vote and whether or not the measure will be state mandated, local program, national program, how it's going to trickle out, where it's trickling in. And when I put this together, I'm looking at local and national. Okay. And I pulled out California is a good one. Arizona is another good one. I didn't really look at DC a lot. I looked at PA. So Pennsylvania is a good one. So I was taking that reference, that information, pulling it together. Another great source is the Resource Hub, which when I put this out on a Friday rundown, I'll put all that information in there as well. Now you're probably saying, Gail, I'm not going to do all that. Well, just keep tuning in to News in Motion. It's cool. Because we're going to make sure we're doing some of these things for you. Ballotpedia is another amazing resource. The Library of Congress, another great resource. You grab all these resources and you're looking at it and you're breaking it down. You're breaking it down. So then you have specific statutory references. So the text that immediately follows the enacting clause refers to the section of the bill. So you're going through the section. I think I have a let me see if I have there it is. So you see section one, like this is how you write a bill. And this is a blank bill, y'all. So this is how you write a bill. So there's the sections. Again, I'll tell you about the numbers later. And you take each section, and from that section, you're pulling all of these things out that we're talking about. Okay, y'all? Again, you're going to get this if you get the Friday rundown. Not this Friday, but you'll get it. So that's a specific, did I go back far enough? Yes, I did. Okay. So then you have deletion. Y'all, what's important are the deletions. Why are you deleting this? Why? And you ask the question because it's striked out. It's not covered up. It's just there's a line strike through it. And that indicates the deletion. Well, why are you deleting this? That should give you this sense of, let me research this some more. Because was this a loophole? Was this going to hold up the bill? Was it not going to have passage? Why are they deleting this? And maybe for you as the reader, you're thinking this is the most important part of the whole bill. So why did you delete this part? What is it? What are we giving up? What's the pork in this bill? When I say pork, what's the money? What's going to be the transfer of power of this? What are we transitioning here and why? And then new wording. Y'all want to pay attention to the new wording. All new language of this bill, of any bill, takes two forms, okay? So let's talk about words we should pay attention to. Shall. That's powerful word, y'all. When you're reading these legislative bills, shall. It'll say shall do, or shall together, or shall we. The moment you see the word shall, pay attention. The other one, must. That's a strong word. Must trumps shall. So why are you saying we must do this? What's the point behind must? Why? So there's a tie-in to the word must. I want y'all to hear me. Encourage. Y'all may think, oh, that's a sweet, nice word. No, it's not. When someone says, I strongly encourage you to do this, or I encourage that we pass this bill, there's something behind the courage. Imagine, for, if you will, the former guy telling Ronna mcDaniel, I encourage you to resign. That's the encouragement I'm talking about in these bills. So what's this encouragement? So y'all may think that's sweet. Well, encourage trumps must, and must trumps shall. Then we get to the word can, y'all. 3 little letters. Can. We can do that. Yes, we can. It's like, yes, we can. We can. You may think, oh, that's just a little 3-letter word. Well, can trumps encourage. Encourage trumps must. And must trumps shall. Y'all better pay attention to these bills, these legislative bills that are coming out there. These 4 words are powerful. Kim Edmondson says you can only get this type of information on News in Motion. Listen, and I love it. 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 So y'all, next week, next Wednesday, we're going to talk about writing a bill. Okay, we're going to talk about writing it, and we're going to pull this reading information into writing it. You may be thinking, why don't we start with writing first? Doesn't work that way. We want to learn how to read it before we can write it. Okay, y'all, this brings me joy. I don't know if y'all can understand this, but this brings me joy. I get excited about this because this is the empowerment, the education, and the equipping of the community. And this is where it all lies. This is where it all lies. All right, y'all, let's get to the inspirational message. The inspirational message is to be prepared. To be prepared. I don't have a scripture to go with it today, but to be prepared. Prepare yourself for what's coming, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself to get into that position to say, you know what? I'm going to have a drive to understand. I'm going to have a passion to get to the root of things. I'm not going to just go lollygagging and lolly around. I'm going to be free and I'm going to have fun. But at the same time, I'm wanting to have some understanding of what's going on around me and why it is important. Y'all, I want y'all to hear this. Prepare for battle. Prepare for victory. Prepare for success, prepare for building up, prepare for tearing down, prepare for financial breakthrough. Listen, people. I've been having conversations around fasting because, Lent is coming up next Wednesday on Valentine's Day when y'all trying to give up sugar and y'all want that chocolate. Just eat it the day before. Seriously. But what are you praying for? And what's your motivation? My son and I was having a great conversation yesterday. He was like, but people need to understand what's your motivation behind doing a fast. So I'll talk about that real quick as we're talking about preparing. Even now, next Wednesday is Lent. Is Ash Wednesday, kicks off Lent. So prepare now. Well, what am I giving up and why am I giving this up? What am I trying to do? Is it for something? And if it's for something, what's my draw to Jesus? What's my draw to God? I'm a believer right here. Pastor Alex says scriptural reference, Joshua chapters 1 and 2. Everybody read that. That's your homework assignment since we're not on here tomorrow for town hall meeting. We'll be back on Tuesday. But listen, you're preparing for what? You're fasting for what? Get ready. Seriously, y'all, get ready. If someone walked up to you today and said, you know what? I want to offer you this position. It's been your dream job. Are you prepared to say yes? Are you prepared to say no? If someone come up to you and say, you know what? I want to invest into the work that you're doing. I want to invest into your ministry. Can you break down your mission for me? Are you prepared to break down the mission? Y'all, be prepared. I go back to yesterday's topic, financial empowerment with Cassandra Cummings. Again, I can't thank her enough. Y'all, she lives in California. She was on here at 4:25 a.m. That's how excited she was to join us, to give us that information, to equip us. And I hope y'all just don't lollygag past that like, oh, whatever. Okay, she was good, but I'm moving on. No, we want y'all to take hold of these things that we're giving you because it's going to make a difference in your life and in the legacy that you're leaving. So prepare for it. So even with that, when we're talking about educational empowerment, what are you going to do with it? Seriously. When she said, make your money work for you, look at your money, your spending plan as every dollar has a job. And if that dollar is not doing its job, you fire that person, that dollar of the job. That just broke. That was like, if I would have known that 20 years ago, I promise you I'd be a millionaire right now. Seriously. Y'all, we got to stop complaining about what we don't have and prepare to receive what we've been praying for, asking for, waiting for. Seriously, y'all, change your complaint into life-speaking words as you prepare for the manifestation. I'm going to go there. I know if y'all, I get it. If y'all are not believers, I understand you're exiting stage left. Have a great day. But for those of you who are believers, the manifestation of God, it's not on its way, it's here. But the question is, are you ready to access and to receive that manifestation that you've been praying for? Y'all, we gotta go there. We have to go there. I cannot stress it enough. And yeah, I'm real excited. I'm going to go on vacation. I cannot stress it enough the preparation that we have to go through. So yes, you're going to have days where you are lamenting. Y'all, my lament was last week. I told y'all, I was like, Jesus, look, I've been praying for this since 2013, but that's how me and Jesus talk. We roll like that. And the conversation that we had. And so after that conversation, the rest of the week last week, God was like, I've answered a lot of those. I may not have answered them the way you wanted them, but I answered them based upon what I know you were ready for then. You weren't completely prepared for everything you asked for. Ouch. Seriously, Jesus, you got to talk to me like that? Yep, you told me how you felt. Now I'm telling you how I feel. So I was going through God's word, right? And I was reading different. And you know what? Alex, I think I may have read that because I was in Joshua. And they were talking about, he was talking about, you didn't do this right. You didn't do this right. And I was like, okay. And it was like I was reading passages of scriptures that I know I've read before, but it was hitting me different. It was hitting me different. And God was speaking to me saying, nope, yep, nope. Change, pivot. It was like so clear. So I started taking notes. Heather says, yes, God, thank you. I speak my victory into existence. Hallelujah. That's what I'm talking. Let's have church today. Yes, that's what I'm talking about, y'all. God knows the plans he has for us, plans to prosper us, give us a hope and a future, not plans for destruction. Now, many of us stop right there. Well, there's some other stuff following in the next 3 scriptures down there. It talks about listening, forgiving, changing, understanding, surrendering. This is my paraphrase of that. There's more to it. We want to stop at the victory. Well, did you do the work? Did you do the work? We even go to God and talk about heal the land. Well, he tells us what we can do to get the land healed. But are we willing to do the work to get the land healed? What are we giving up as we prepare for what's to come? All right, y'all. I'm out of here. I will see y'all on Tuesday. There's no town hall tomorrow. There's no News in Motion tomorrow. We will be back on Tuesday. I want y'all to do me a favor. Pay attention. I'm trying to see if anybody's talking to me on the podcast. I want y'all to pay attention to this. I want y'all to do me a favor. I want all of you to consider one person who you know could benefit from tuning into News in Motion, whether they're watching live or the replay. One person. And invite them. Say, hey, just hang with us for the rest of February. Come Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, following week, hang with us. One person that you know, they're like, you've heard their conversations and you're like, we got a show for you. I want you to invite them. We're not trying to get the numbers up. We're just trying to equip more people with the truth. Now, if you're like, well, I don't want them to come to the show, but I'm going to have a one-on-one conversation, then commit to that. And that's cool too, because you don't need me. You're empowered with the information. You can be the person to share it with somebody else. So y'all listen, we're on to something, and I want us not to miss what God is doing. And God is doing some amazing things. And this is what I call equipping season. You'll get this Friday's rundown on Friday, of course. And then next Friday, the format's going to change a little bit. We're going to put some more information and links. It's a kind of newsletter, and people are unsubscribing because they're like, it's too filled with too much education. I'm like, what kind of people are we? We don't want education. I'm not getting it. I'm really not getting it. But I'm not giving up on educating people. I'm not. Do me a favor also. Pray for Kenny Stanley's wife. I won't give any details, but pray for Kenny Stanley's wife and their family. Please, please, please lift them up in prayer. Pray for one another. Y'all know, I am Gail Dudley. This has been News in Motion. Y'all come on. We got to get this. We got to get this right. Y'all know what I say, everyone. Stay well. Remember to make some bold moves. I will not see you tomorrow. We will see you on next Tuesday, February the 13th. We're out.
News in Motion.